welcome to an exciting episode of the Race Car that is guaranteed to please. Now, if you have goggles like these or your phone, we recommend you break those out for the best experience. And if not, that's up to you. Welcome, Matt McPherson here from All South Designs, and we are shooting episode 5 of the Race Car completely in 360-degree view. So you don't have to look at me, you don't have to look at anything you don't want to. You can look around, you can look at the car you'll see inside this video. You can look anywhere in the studio. Now, to get into the car, we're having a couple issues with it. We're dealing with a vacuum leak, we're dealing with a rear end issue. Now, as you will see through this video, we go through and we do some practice runs around the track. Now you'll notice it doesn't really run all that great yet, but it will, and we are working on it. So stay tuned for more on that. So without any further ado, let's go check it out.
So,
day after practice.
And so we were running, what, 20-second laps?
Yeah, 20.0.
Yeah.
Pulled off a 19.9 at some point.
Yep.
Pretty slow.
Very slow.
Compared to where we need to be.
And where is that? 18?
Yeah, mid to low 18s.
Yeah. So I noticed when I was on the sidelines that it did not sound great.
Well.
So what are you thinking?
We're suspecting a fouled spark plug.
Yeah.
Don't know how old these plugs are. We didn't put new plugs in it. It's got a custom intake to turn a fuel-injected motor into a carbureted motor. There could be some fuel supply issues going on that's causing plugs to load up.
Yeah.
So let's just pull the plugs out and take a look.
Yeah, I think that's a good start. Definitely. See what we get. Yeah, I noticed during the race too that when you were coming back off the track, fire was shooting out of the carburetor too. This one looks good.
That one's about the same.
Yep. That one looks pretty.
That one looks suspect.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so.
This one looks good too.
It's pretty black. Yeah, it definitely smells gassy. So there we go.
So it's like number 3 was fouled.
Yeah. So, didn't you talk to the guys who put the car together, right?
Yeah. And, it's sort of the general consensus that we might want to build a new intake manifold for this thing. It's not going to be an ongoing problem as long as we manage it correctly, fouling plugs.
Yeah.
It's mostly the low speed, sitting in idle. That's what's going to
Oh yeah, because we did a bunch of that.
Yeah. Being
before we
out on the track at RPM shouldn't foul the plugs, but we got a few things going on that we need to work on. We're turning too many RPMs.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, turning too many RPMs. This thing was turning 7,500, and at one point we hit 8,000. I don't know if that was on a shift or what the deal was, but when I was peaking at the tack going into the corners, it really wasn't pulling over 75. But it was also only running on 3 cylinders, so
which is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big
really
deal. For speed, yeah, it's a big deal. It also affects handling because you're not going into the corner as hard. It makes it difficult to try and tune the chassis and the suspension when you're not going as fast as you're going to be going. So, the slower you go, the better the car feels. It just feels like it is handling better.
Yeah.
When you start going fast, you really got to push it and be able to lean on the edge. Also, when you get out of shape in the middle of the corner, or just for speed, and you're trying to get off the corner, and it doesn't accelerate. I mean, once in a while, it would clear out and pull hard down the straightaway, but I mean, it would take till halfway down the straightaway. So, you can't really tell where we're at without having that issue cleared up. But also, I mean, this is a stock bottom end, and the word is that these stock oil pumps don't want to turn over 7,000. So, I mean, the further we go away from 7,000 RPMs, the more likely we are to just grenade this thing.
No.
So, we got 456 gears in the back, and pretty sure, talking to the guys that we got the car from, that it's a 146 third gear ratio in this T5, and that gives us a 6.66 final drive ratio. And if we run a 410 rear end, that will give us closer to like a 6.0.
Yeah.
I think. So,
and we've been lucky enough that we're actually going to get one of those.
Yeah. So
that's cool.
Yeah, and actually, I got another gear set here. I'm not sure what the heck the ratio is, but we might be able to do something before next week, or we might need to make a trip north of the border. That's stuff that's gonna hinder us. We got to check all that stuff off.
Yeah, because we really need to shave off a second and a half.
Yeah, I mean, turning more RPMs doesn't necessarily mean you go faster. You gotta operate in the power band of the motor.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point in turning it harder when it doesn't make any power there.
Yeah.
So once we get a new set of plugs in, we already got plugs coming.
Yep.
We get the gears figured out. We ran a little behind schedule on getting the body finished. We were waiting on a new front nose,
which will be here next week.
Supposed to be here tomorrow.
Because we've got to cut the pipes off and redo all that.
Cut all the tube off and redo the tube because it's suffered a little trauma up here. We also noticed that the engine was running real cold, so running around on the track, the thing didn't even want to warm up to 140 degrees. So I think once we put the nose on it and the hood and trap some of that heat in there, it'll warm up a little bit. But we might look at putting a restrictor. There's no thermostat on this motor right now. The T-stat housing isn't even there. So, So what we can do is put something in line in this upper hose right here at this fitting, like a fender washer or a machined piece of aluminum that has a reduced, instead of being the diameter of the hose, you just reduce the ID down a little bit, and that'll act as a flow restrictor. It'll slow the water down, and we'll get more temp out of it.
Cool. Easy fix.
Yep, so that's an easy fix. I'm not too worried about that. Carburetor. So, gonna order a rebuild kit, freshen the carburetor up.
Yeah. Figure out what the flow jet and the jets.
Yeah. We'll look at the jets. We really can't even tune that until we're turning the right RPM, and we got fresh plugs in it. So,
Yeah.
and then you do a plug check at the track. Run it hard, you shut it off coming off the track, and you don't let it run all the way back to the pit to try and coast back. And then you pull plugs and you can see the color on them.
Yep, that's what we'll do.
So we'll do that. Going to start the process on putting together an intake manifold for it. That
to get rid of the plastic.
Yeah, we'll get rid of the plastic. We'll, also to orientate the carburetor 90 degrees, counterclockwise compared to how it's sitting now.
And why do we want to do that?
Well, because the two Venturis are basically stacked horizontal, or perpendicular to the chassis and the motor. So the fuel is feeding both of them are stacked, feeding in a straight line right in between number 2 and number 3 cylinders.
So that's probably why.
And that could be why.
The foul plugs are happening.
Yeah. So if we were to rotate the carburetor 90 degrees, then you got a front Venturi and a rear, and it would have a better chance of feeding more fuel and air across all 4 cylinders. So
cool.
That's an idea there. It's just a theory.
Yep. So still quite a bit of work to do.
Yeah, we've been out here today working on a bump steer issue, making new tie rod ends that are adjustable so that we can eliminate bump steer and help the car through the middle of the corner. There wasn't really an issue for us last night because we weren't going that fast to be able to even notice it, but that's something that was on the list.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Race Car in 360. I know we enjoyed filming it. Now you can see we have a lot of work to do, and we only have 2 weeks to do it, so it's getting down to crunch time. But I have all the faith in the world that we're going to get it done, and we're going to bring an exciting race season to all of you guys. Really quick before I sign out of here, a special thanks to Sound Advice and Spunks, and yours truly, All's House Designs. So we will see you guys next time.